those. We'll go back to item 2, which, as you'll note, had a small update. And I think Councillor Davis is going to be so pleased that after all these years of pleas, it's finally come to action. I wondered if you heard what I said there. Did you hear what I said?
I heard what you said. Ah, good.
You didn't pass a comment. I thought it'd be yes.
Well, I was going to make a comment after Richard presented this.
Richard?
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, members. Item 2 is the proposed development of the site of the Hampshire Rose pub, which used to stand on this site. I should add that this site also comprises the residential curtilage of number 2, Fareham Park Road, as I'm shown with the cursor here as well. And so in combination, the application site wraps around in this reverse L shape around the adjacent dentist and medical practice. I'm sure members are very aware of the site in its current condition. It has been a vacant site, a derelict site for a number of years. This is a recent photograph taken from my site visit. It's got hoarding around it at the moment. So this is taken at the junction with Fareham Park Road and Highlands Road. The other thing to note from this photograph, and you'll see this reflected in the proposed drawings, is that the levels on the site are slightly raised. There's an existing hard surfaced slab which is proposed to be broken up but then replaced with a new slab to address the slight slope on the site. This is a 3D image provided by the applicant. I should stress that your decision today should be based on the plans that have been submitted rather than this image, but this image is a useful one to show you to illustrate the general aesthetic, the general design of the proposal. It's taken, this image is taken from roughly the same position as I was standing, taking the photograph previously, and it shows the existing buildings on the opposite corner, the 2-storey dwelling house on the opposite corner of Fareham Park Road, and it shows the adjacent dentist and medical practice in the background here. I should also add that whilst this image shows in quite some detail the some materials, it shows a mixture of materials. The exact precise details of what external materials will be used are recommended to be secured by a planning condition, and that's to ensure that we get the right palette of materials, but in any case they've shown some here for you. So the development is broken up into 4 separate blocks. There's a block on the corner, as we've just seen, Block A on the corner of Highlands Road and Fareham Park Road, and another Block B further along into Fareham Park Road, and both of those blocks are 3-storey blocks, with the 3rd storey at 2nd floor level being recessed in subservient design terms. Block C, a little bit further along, helps that transition in scale by stepping down to a 2-storey scale, and then to the rear, accessed via a rear courtyard, parking courtyard, is another block D, which, although it has a combination of 3 stories, it has 2-storey eaves height, so that 2nd floor is within the roof space. But I'll show you in some more detail those blocks in just a second. Before I do, I wanted to show you a street scene elevation, or a couple of street scene elevations, demonstrating how the proposal would look. This is from Highlands Road, so this is the street scene elevation from Highlands Road. On the left-hand side is the adjacent dentists. Before then you have the application site, and notice this is the difference in levels I was referring to before, and there being a slab on the site. And what you're seeing here is a partially retaining structure and partial boundary wall to the gardens on this side of the block, topped with railings. And then you see Fareham Park Road, and on the other corner of the junction, the residential property at number 94. Turning the corner into Fareham Park Road, this is the street scene as you travel up Fareham Park Road. So this is the side flank elevation of Block A. And then in the background here, that's the medical practice you can see viewed over the car park for Block A and Block B. This is block B. You'll see, as I mentioned before, it's 3-storey in scale. However, that 3rd story is recessed on both block A and block B. And then after the entrance through to the rear courtyard, parking courtyard to block D, you have a 2-storey building of block C. So starting off with block A, it's located on the corner, as you can see. Ground floor flats have their own private amenity space, whilst there's some communal garden space to serve the upper floor units. All of the units at upper floors have access to private terraces also. These are the elevations for that particular block. Unfortunately, with the 2D elevations, you can't really appreciate the articulation and the different materials and the different setbacks and recessed areas of the elevations, but hopefully the 3D image I showed you earlier gets that across. Blocks B and C, so as you travel up Fareham Park Road, this is block B, as I've already said, 3-storey in scale, but here's the 2-storey elements of it, and that 3rd story being set back slightly to give that appearance of it being subservient in nature, and also some contrasting materials there as well to assist. Block C itself is 2-storey in scale, so it starts to step down in scale to the existing buildings adjacent on Fareham Park Road as you travel north. And then finally, block D, located to the rear. Again, private garden areas for each of the 4 flats. There's 2 ground floor flats and then 2 maisonettes at 1st and 2nd floor level. So each of those having private amenity areas. And this is how that block would appear. So it would be a 2-storey eaves height to the building with a 2nd floor with rooms in the roof. So just returning to the photographs, this is taken from a very similar angle as the first photograph that I showed you. Looking at that corner plot of block A. This is the view as you get and you travel round into Fareham Park Road, looking up Fareham Park Road. The bungalow that you can see here is number 2 Fareham Park Road, which would be demolished. So this is the approximate position of block C. You can see the existing development behind a 2-storey scale. And finally, I think this is the last photograph, moving back round onto Highlands Road, looking along Highlands Road towards the application site with the dental practice on the left. And this gives you a little bit of appreciation of the slight difference in levels here between those 2 sites, and also the current condition of the site being quite overgrown. Chairman, that's the end of the presentation. If I've missed anything or members want any clarification further to what's in the report, please let me know. Recommendations that I should be granted.